Hi, my name is Vicky Iozia, and you're going to be seeing the video from our January 8th, 2025 general meeting of the League of Women Voters of Citrus County. I had a little glitch in the beginning, so I didn't capture all of it, but I'm going to catch you up right now on what you missed. Welcome to everyone. Then I introduced our board members: Linda Abels, Beverly Brown, Maxine Connor, Dr. B.J. Azell, Dan Hall, Dean Messersmith, Rosemary Nillis, Meg Promo, and Deborah Stager. I read the 2 questions from the newsletter. And the first one was, where is Wanda Brown and her team going to help people learn about their voting rights? And the answer is, to prison. The next question was, what do you need to do soon and again to protect your voting rights? You need to go to the Supervisor of Elections website and register to get your vote by mail. Then I introduced our guest speakers. Seniors are all too often targeted by scammers and con artists, thinking that they have easy prey. With appropriate information, we can foil their plans. Mary Darling, who is in charge of the Seniors versus Crime Unit at the Citrus County Sheriff's Office, is our speaker, and Teri DeStefano, her assistant, also spoke. They will report to you about the successes of Seniors versus Crime and will inform you about what you can do to protect yourself.
Any seniors, as well as those who are not seniors. We do work with them as well. They're always afraid to talk to their relatives, their friends about what they did or what they thought they were going to do or what they're going to do. It's so important to let somebody know what you do. And you all may know what's going on, but somebody that you know doesn't know or is afraid to talk to their relative or friend or neighbor. That's one of the first questions that I ask when I'm talking with somebody who comes into our office is, who knows about this? Who in your family supports you? Do they know what's going on? And many times it's no, I don't want to say anything. My son's going to yell at me. My daughter's going to cut me off, whatever it is. They're afraid. Don't be afraid because this happens more often than what anybody even thinks. We had one lady who was after hours, and I answered the phone, even though Mary told me not to. But it
She
was
never leaves on time.
it was a woman whose husband wouldn't listen to her, and he had received a phone call. I don't remember what the circumstance was because I honestly didn't even give the woman half a chance to talk about it. But he listened to that person was on his way to the bank to withdraw $2,000 in gift cards. And his wife begged him. She said, she goes, I begged him, don't do it, don't go. And he's, no, I got to. And he got in the car and he left. She turned around and she called our office. So I was very thankful that I answered the phone because I told her, I don't want to hear it. I want you to blow up your husband's phone until he answers it, because there's a good chance that that person is asking him to keep the line open with them on it while he did the transaction. Many times that happens. I said, but I want you to keep calling. And every time it goes into voicemail, I want you to hang up and call back until he answers the phone. He finally answered the phone after he got back into the vehicle. And yes, the call was on an open line from who he was talking to. He had already withdrawn the $2,000, but he hadn't gone to the Walmart or wherever he was supposed to go to get the gift cards. And I said, just tell him to stop. Don't do anything. It is a scam. Um, I ended up leaving and turned the call over to Mary. So I believe we were able to intervene in that one and save them $2,000, but that doesn't always happen. That doesn't always happen. Once you get that gift card, once you give them that number, it is gone. And if you call our office and you tell us about it, we will very nicely tell you the same thing. There's nothing we can do for you, unfortunately. Come in, we'll talk to you about, some of the other things that you might want to be aware of, but there isn't anything that anyone can do once you give them that number. They got the money and they're gone. And it has happened to many of our clients. We had also a situation where a woman wanted a pool. She moved from South Florida because she wanted a peaceful environment. She had some really bad neighbors where she was living, and she just needed to be in a peaceful setting. So she moved to Citrus County, bought a home, wanted a pool. She contracted a company. He was licensed, he was insured, the whole 9 yards, and she gave him a $6,000 deposit, which is fine. Anything more than 10%, they have to prove that they've pulled that permit, and they will begin that work within the 30 days, or at least the permit has to be pulled within 30 days. And then they have a time limit on that. She gave him the $6,000. The very next day he called her, gave her some sort of a story. I don't know what it was. She gave him 10,000. He came back about a week later with his wife because he wanted to show his wife her dogs. Okay, so again, they had a very nice conversation. She gave him more money, $26,000, and he hadn't even done one, not even brought a shovel on the property. He finally dug the hole. 4 months later, she came to us because he hadn't done anything else. And so we were lucky enough, we were very fortunate enough that he is a stand-up guy, even though he was going through some troubles. I had to get Mary involved in this to make it more oomph, to get a little bit more power behind my voice. And he now makes $500 a week payments. He's up to, I think, 20,000.
20,000, he's paid her back.
He's paid her back $20,000. So the money comes to our office, she comes in and she picks it up. Again, that doesn't always happen. He could have easily walked and she would have been out $26,000. So there's a lot of scenarios that can happen. I had a couple that came in. Their son was going to college in Utah. They had an SUV that he was going to load up with some of his personal stuff and drive it back to Utah, sell the vehicle, keep the money, and finish, going to school. They went to the DMV to get the hard copy of the title so that he could sell it when he got there. When they printed it out, found out that it had a different person's name on it. There was a gentleman or a man. I'm not going to say gentleman because I'm not sure how that happened, but in Jacksonville. So I said to him, the first thing is, where is the vehicle? He says, nobody will ever find it. I said, good. I said, because until you get that title straightened out, he can't come to you and he can confiscate that vehicle. So you also need to look at those things. Anything that you own, property, campers, boats, trailers, homes, anything like that that you actually own, you need to look into getting it locked down or getting some sort of a service on it, which there's a lot, just like your social security number, you can get a lock on that. So if there's any activity that you will be notified, including a lien being placed on your property, you can go to the county and get that information and they will do a flag. So if anybody brings up your address, because you don't know that there's a lien on it until all of a sudden you go to sell it. And then all of a sudden you've got a lien on it for whatever. Mechanical liens are so easy. All they have to say was, yeah, I went there to do some work and she never paid me. Here's all the paperwork. And then they file that lien against your property. So there's a lot of things. There's absolutely a lot of things. Mary, did you have any?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a roofing company here in Citrus, and we've had a lot of complaints. What this company does is they'll tell you, okay, you do need it. Well, we're in the neighborhood and we had a storm 3 months ago, so you probably have some roof damage, hail damage. How often do we get hail damage in Citrus? So they'll ask permission to go up on your roof and check. And so they'll say, but we don't want you to be responsible if we fall or anything. So here's, if you just sign here, then that's going to protect you. Well, you just signed a contract because you didn't read it. I've done it. Don't feel bad if that ever happens to you. But what they do then is they'll they'll get a figure that it's going to cost you, I'm going to pick $40,000 for a new roof. So you've already signed the contract. They sign it. It says on there, it's going to cost $40,000. What I have seen time and time again is the original contract. They white out that $40,000, white out, and put 46.5. And they say, it's only going to cost you $1,000, which is what your deductible is. And the insurance company pays the rest. Well, the insurance company pays it. We've called them. Why do you do that? They say, well, we just do. So they're, that's fraud. They can't do that, but they do. And right now there's over 500 liens filed from this particular roofing company here in Citrus, 500 liens that they have placed on people's homes. And again, you go to sell it, you don't even know that lien's there. And you got to pay the lien before you can sell your house. Ma'am, they are.
They changed.
Is it confidential? Who it is?
No, we can say that.
AAA.
Now, if it's real damage and the insurance company pays it, then they don't bother you. It's no problem. It's if the insurance company denies it and only wants to do a partial or whatever it is, that's when you really get into trouble with them. I think, didn't we find out that they're trying to change their name? They're trying to.
Well, yeah, they already have.
Oh, they already have. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
There's an AKA with it, also known as. But when they do this to people and the liens are filed, then they'll come to us and it's too late. So when you're going to do something, or I'm a 30-year paralegal, call us, come in, talk to us, say, I'm thinking about getting a new roof and here's the estimate I got. Because you don't have to sign a contract right away. Get an estimate. And all of those papers that I'm talking about say estimate. It's a contract. And it even says on there that if your insurance company says, no, we're not going to cover it, and you've already signed that contract, they can come after you for 40% of whatever that's going to cost.
And they'll take you to court for that.
How can you find out if your house has a lien on it?
You can go to the clerk's office, go online to the Citrus County clerk, and you can look under your property, or you can go under official records. You can type in your name, and anything that's in your name will come up, and you can see if there's a lien filed. They're supposed to notify you by law if a lien is filed against you.
I think you have to request it. I requested it, there's a file that I requested any activity on my property, I'm to be notified.
Yes,
I can't stop this.
No,
right.
But
But that's what you need to do is and I believe you can do it online now, or go to the clerk's office. And there's a way that you're giving them permission that if anybody does anything to your property, you're notified right away, which is awesome.
Mhm.
This company's still in business, still number one in the county.
That's what the billboard says.
Billboard says, yeah, ma'am.
Considering the enormous problem, the enormous expense that's involved with our homeowners insurance, are the insurance companies doing anything to address the situation?
That
Okay.
we don't, that would be the insurance
They
commissioner.
push to say, watch out for this or anything else? Or they just?
There's a lot going on in the state of Florida with insurance, whether it's automobile, homeowners, property. There's a lot going on. We're not part of that, but we know it's happening. So they're reporting, the insurance commissioner, they're reporting to the attorney general, and they're doing their own thing. And that is, a lot of it is fraud. And that's what they found out over the last couple of years. And a lot of it had to do with roofing. And that's why when we do come up with the documentation to support the client that's coming in, keep in mind that when you come to us to file a complaint, we're going to hear what you have to say. We're going to ask you for your support documentation. We're going to go to the company or the person. Doesn't have to be a company, it can be a person, and we're going to ask them their side of it. Okay, we can't put a hat on until we know both sides and who's got the supporting documentation. And unfortunately, if you don't have it, we're going to tell you there's nothing we can do because they have their supporting documentation. You don't have yours. If they say, well, I made this call or I drove over here, I got this receipt, where is it? We need the hard copy. So we do thoroughly interview both sides before we accept a case. So when it comes to the insurance, all we can do is send it on up to the Attorney General's office. We also have another level above us, which is our detectives, and we'll send it up to them before it goes to the attorney. Or the one case that Mary's working right now, it's not really a fraud situation, so it's going right up to Tallahassee. And we do have that ability. They do listen to us. We do plug it into the computer. As soon as we file a case in our system, when we accept it, the Attorney General's office can see it, but they don't do anything until we tell them, okay, we're giving it to you. If we can't solve it, then we go to our next level, then it goes up to the Attorney General.
Something I always suggest too is if you're going to have anything done at your home, just take a piece of paper. On January the 8th, 2025, I called so-and-so, come to my house for an estimate for a new roof. Keep a ledger because if something goes wrong, that ledger can make a huge difference in a case. When we can document they were there 18 times, there was 42 phone calls. And you may not think at the time that it's important to do that, but it is, no matter how minuscule you think it might be. I had a lady come in, I felt so sorry for her. She was a recent widow, and she had a problem with a tire on her car. So she took it to Nissan, Brooksville, not here. And uh, they got it up on the rack. They come and got her and they said, oh, look at this, all this oil. He's like, I've got a problem with the tire. No, your car's not going to run much longer. So they browbeat her, wanting her to buy a new car, of course. And I would tell my mother the same thing. They said, get rid of that car. It's not going to last you. And I forget what year it was. It wasn't that old. And she said I couldn't afford a brand new car and cost of the loan and the increase in the insurance. And she was just stymied what to do. So they ended up talking her into a lease car, which, yeah, which is even worse. She came to us and she said, my car, it was a tire. Now they've talked me into this. I knew as soon as I got home, I did something wrong. We said, okay, let us take a look at it for you. So I contacted corporate with Nissan and we had a conversation. And in the meantime, she went online to Nissan of Brooksville and saw her car was for sale for $14,900. Now this is the same car that wasn't going to last. So we intervened and she got her car back.
And the lease was canceled.
And the lease was canceled. So we'll do our best to help you. Just give us every bit of information that you've got on what your problem is to help us solve it for you. And we can't guarantee we're going to do it, but we're going to give it the best try that we have. And if your phone rings and it's a number that you don't recognize, don't answer it. And if you do answer it, don't say yes. Is this Lillian Boehner? Yes. Well, that can turn around and bite you in the rear. Is this Lillian Boehner? Who's calling? You didn't say yes, where they can turn that around. Just little things. Sorry, Lil. It is hard. It definitely is hard. I know when I get a call, oh, and this is being recorded. When I get a call, I usually will say, and I know it's a spam or scan, then I'll say, this is Citrus County Sheriff's Office recorded line. How can I help you? Click. That usually works. Sir.
Is there a penalty for the Nissan dealer?
I don't know.
Probably doing something that was.
Oh, yes.
Gone up to the Attorney General's office. There's an actual form that is filled out that we would fill out
Okay.
for, but if it's a simple phone call and it's taken care of, we let it go. Okay.
They still know.
Mhm.
The AG's office still knows
yeah.
because when we close a file,
Mhm.
they're notified of what transpired,
Mhm.
what the results were. So they do have, and they have 400 attorneys up there. So someone's usually watching, we hope.
Yeah.
Computers and monitoring, Microsoft, they're not going to call you. Social Security's not going to call you. FBI's not going to call you. Post office. Yes, I recently had an email and from them. And I went in and she said, don't even show it to me. She said, it's no good. So, we're in a world where we have to watch everything. My daddy was a house painter. He did business with a handshake, and I'm sure y'all can relate to that. You can't now. I mean, look at these contracts that we're looking at. And the roofing company, by the way, he's been in jail twice for this.
Can you tell us the AKA?
I can't remember right off the bat.
This just recently happened.
They still go under the AAA.
Oh, yeah, I hear
Here's the thing. Don't call us if you need an immediate answer, because it could be any time of the day or the night or whatever it is, or the weekend, and we might not be there. Just let that person, okay, I hear what you're saying. Let me talk to my family about this. My son, my daughter makes all the decisions for me. I can't sign anything. Okay, let them know. So, okay, then they'll pretty much leave you alone. But the thing is, don't answer the door. If you're not expecting that visitor, if you didn't call for service of any kind, don't answer the door. Just like your telephone, don't answer it. They're not going to break the door down. They're not going to come in. They're going to knock, ring the doorbell, maybe get your dog going crazy or whatever it is. Just don't answer it. We had a lady who, she and her husband, um, very elderly. I think they were in their upper 80s actually, and
It's not
she
that old.
was she was legally blind. She was in a wheelchair. She had the onset of dementia. She had Parkinson's,
Hmm.
and I'm sure there was cardiac there. I'm sure there was others, but her husband allowed her to make all the decisions and all the talking. He just, okay, so he let this guy in the house. He talked her into, I don't know if it was solar or roof, I
Solar.
can't remember, solar, and got her to sign all this stuff. Okay, it was a DocuSign. So when they came to us, and it was actually the realtor that came to us
Mhm.
to let us know what, because they wanted to sell their house, they wanted to go into assisted living, they wanted to sell the house, and that's when they found out that because she signed this contract, that it was going to have to go to the people that sold the house, and she wasn't going to be able to make that deal, that she was going to make that happen. And so I mean, it was just, we got them out of it. We got them
It
out
was
of it.
like $60,000 or $70,000, and it was for a 25-year. She's in her 80s.
Yeah.
Very vulnerable.
Mhm.
Seniors are vulnerable.
Question.
Mhm.
What's law in Florida to do with contracts? When I was back in Massachusetts years ago, there was some law where you could get out of it in 3 days. Like if something wasn't right, you just could get out of it.
Only if they have that grace, only if they have that on the
It
contract.
has to be on the contract.
Yeah.
That doesn't work for cars,
Right.
I found out. Hmm.
Florida doesn't have a lot of protection.
Not the Florida law, it's the individual company that it's the contract that they draw up. But bottom line is, don't sign it. Don't sign it. Don't give them the upper hand on that. They could be a very legit company. There are companies out there that are good. Okay, but you don't know who they are, because they are until they're not.
We had my husband, and Lillian, you know him as well as I do. Uh, he got a guy came to the door, which I'm surprised they'd come down that driveway 600 feet, and wanted to talk about solar. Floyd said, okay, well, my wife will be back. Come back and we'll all talk. And I thought, oh dear, what'd you do? So sure enough, I come home. The guy comes back. Very nice young man. It was about solar. I let him talk as long as he wanted to talk. And he said, it's going to increase the value of your home. Da, 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 da. And I said, okay. And he said, we can take care of this right now and you get this great deal. And I said, well, I said, I have to stop you right now. I said, can you come back in like 2 hours? And he said, why? And I says, well, because I'm with the Attorney General's office and this is what I do. I check you out. I said, so if you'll come back, he didn't come back. I had a cousin, supposedly, got an email from a cousin that lives in Indianapolis. He said that he and his wife were in Mexico. He lost his wallet. Could I help him get home? And it sounded really legit from Billy. So I wrote back and I said, sure, Billy. And I got to thinking, I said, what was our grandmother's maiden name? I didn't hear back from Billy either. So little words like that, something that the other person would know, question them, say, well, what was the maiden name or something? You'll find out real quick. Just little things. The Go ahead. I'll look up.
Okay. You know, do you have a question?
Yeah. So the situation that happened with a friend of mine a couple of years ago, she hired somebody to redo her driveway and he broke up the driveway and then he didn't come back.
She had already paid him.
She had already given him $1,000.
Because he had asphalt on the truck, right? And he had leftover. Yeah, go ahead. That's one of
That's
the other.
one of the others, yeah.
So she came to me and because she knew I volunteered for the sheriff's department and we both went to Seniors versus Crime. And even though I learned today that you work for the Attorney General, you're connected with the sheriff's office.
Absolutely.
So when the sheriff showed up at this guy's house, she got her $1,000. I found out later that he borrowed it from her sister. I don't care where he got it from, but when the sheriff comes to your house, it makes a big difference.
And when you get someone comes to your house that you're not looking for, just solicitors. I just found out recently that they have to draw a permit to solicit door to door. I didn't know that. So again, come to us, let us talk to you, let us see if there's anything. If it's something that can't wait, then there's a problem. Ma'am.
Found it, I think it's called Entrepreneur, it's at the property appraisers where you can log on and they'll call you or contact you if somebody tries to put a lien on your house. Have you mentioned that?
Yes. And you can check on property appraisers website too.
Perfectly legitimate, it's not.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Go down to the city government, go down to the DMV and just talk to them. So what programs do you all have available to secure my property? And then they're going to say, what kind of property? House, trailer, boat, vehicle. And then they're going to tell you what they can do for you with that group. And then they'll be able to direct you into other areas. I'm not saying go ahead and get that account with that one that secures your social security number. There are free programs that you can get involved in that allow their system to actually check it. They can't stop it. Not like that one plan, which is a legitimate plan to secure it, where you can, take a boat trailer and go on down the street with your social security number on it and nobody can grab it. That is a legit company. It really is. We've not had any complaints against them, but there are free programs that you can get involved in. The most important message that I can give to everyone is stop giving your money away. You've worked long and hard for it. Do not give it away by signing something, by doing anything like that. Just talk to somebody else, put them on hold, just say, look at, like Mary said, come back in 2 hours, or let me talk to my son, let me talk to my daughter, even if it's not true. They don't know that. They don't know that. I love being able to make a phone call and say, hi, my name is Teri DeStefano, and I give my last name. I'm with the Attorney General's office. May I speak with your manager? And they usually get attention with that. And I encourage the clients that, well, we all do, that we talk to, let them know if they continue to call you or anything like that, just say, you know what, I filed a complaint with the Attorney General's office. I can't say anything to you right now. Boom, they're done. They won't bother you again. And then we can continue to do our job.
They target seniors, and they perceive that we all have money. And that we're more trusting, which we are because of the generations we came from. And that they feel that we're lonely and we want someone to talk to. Sometimes that's true. Or that we have memory problems or health problems, and they can kind of work us that way, all which makes us vulnerable for victimization. And that's what we as Seniors versus Crime want to try and stop here in Citrus County and the state. But we're working for Citrus, and we're going to do our darndest to help you and make it so that you're not a victim if we can help it. Any questions? We thank you, ma'am.
You talked about that. Can you tell us what that service is that's legit, that can protect your?
I don't remember the name of it. There's a commercial on TV or whatever it is. It's just, you can lock up your social security number with all of the credit companies, and you pay a yearly fee on it. And it is legit. You will be notified. They will insure you if something does happen. I just can't remember it, but you can do a search. You can do a Google search and just social security number protection, put in some words in there, and all kinds of stuff will come up.
Same as when you call the credit companies and tell them to block,
Yes.
alert you. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I couldn't give out any business cards because the new sheriff took office yesterday. So all of our cards had printographs on it.
What insurance does happen to you?
I'm sorry, what?
Any literature on your organization and these things that we have got on receipts?
No, because it had our previous sheriff, and we couldn't make any changes on anything until he took office, and that was yesterday.
But I can
So-
give you the phone number where you
Mhm.
can reach us
Mhm.
if you want to write it down.
It's the same number you've had all along.
Lillian has a direct line to me.
And you can always get on the sheriff's website, okay, CCSO, Sheriff Citrus, I think it is .org, or vice versa. I'm not sure how that goes. And it will have us listed in there, even though we do work for the Attorney General's office. It's in partnership with the Sheriff's office. The Sheriff's office gives us the building, the room, the fax, the internet, the phones, the whole 9 yards.
And what's that phone number?
352 249 9139. And that's for Seniors versus Crime. We're open Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 9 until noon. If it comes up and you can't get there till 12:30, not a problem. I'll make Terry stay.
And I always look at my calendar going, okay, can I stay late that day? Yes,
No.
but I really do try, because not everything is solved, in 9 to 12. It just, it just happens that it just doesn't. And then sometimes we'll just get somebody who knows where our office is. We're located in the Beverly Plaza off of LeCanto and Roosevelt. And we're right between Papa Willie's and Subway, which, boy, the aromas from the food on both ends
Oh, yeah.
drives me crazy, But if we're not there, leave a message. Okay, Mary is there usually at least 3, if not 4 days a week. I'm only there, my shift is 1 day and the other counselors, but we do have counselors there every single day, including Mary, and Mary does go in and check messages if we need to. But again, if it's an emergency, just tell them there's nothing that important that I have to sign it right now. Let me get with my son. Let me get with my daughter. Okay, before I make any signatures, I can't do all that. And then you give us a call.
Jan, thank you again for the invitation to speak.
Mhm.
We appreciate it. And call us if you need us, folks. Sir,
Thank you for coming. Can I have a feedback?
we had a question here.
Before you get that question, I didn't know you were both coming.
Thank you.
Drop yours off at the substation. I know where you work, so I'll drop it off there.
Vicky, sir.
Thanks for having us, really.
The situation that we got into a few years ago with my mother, she had a book of checks stolen from the assisted living place.
Mhm.
And those checks were cashed all over the country.
Mhm. Yep.
What we found out was that these companies will not go after unless it's more than $250. They'll just write it off. Gander Mountain was one that they told us, you can hang it, we're guaranteed our money.
Ooh,
You need to file a criminal report on that. You need to go down to the,
This is a different state.
I know, but it's still the same thing. You need to file a report, a criminal report on that, and then get with the bank on that.
we have one right now that we've already referred to the detectives over in fraud, where this woman she's in her 90s, I think.
Mhm.
She doesn't have, well, she's almost blind, but she doesn't have cell phone, none of the luxuries that we all have, and
It doesn't even have a landline.
no landline. So she has a caretaker 24/7 who helps her with her mail. She opened up the bank statement and it was a credit union, Suncoast Credit Union. And the woman had well over $100,000. And all of a sudden she's getting a letter that she's overdrawn. And the only bills that she owned her home. She had a power bill, water bill,
And the caregiver,
and the
and the
caregiver.
caregiver, and that's it.
And that was it. The caregiver got really concerned, went to the bank with the lady. They went, was it 3 months they went?
They went back 3 months. They gave her $24,000. They complained. They went back another 2 months, I think it
Yeah.
was. The problem was there was still $65,000 that the woman was due. And the bank, the credit union, they gave me a hard time. I kind of sort of gave it right back to them, and then they filed a complaint against me, which is
Unfounded.
fine. Fine, complain about me, I don't care. And but once they interviewed me and what happened, they went back to the bank manager or the fraud manager, and they told him what had happened on our end. He goes, you know what? Let's just forget it. I think I was just having a bad day. And so now it's gone up to our detectives because I wasn't going to play that game. And now they're gonna have to. They're gonna have to do that because the checks that were coming out were electronic checks and automatic debits.
And it was like Discover. And it had people's names on it. And they're saying, I can't do anything. No.
Three different power companies, hers and two others. And it's like, yeah, so we think, and they even changed accounts. They even closed that account, opened up another one. They put that $24,000 back in her account the very next day. After that happened, $1,800 was taken out of her account. So that's why I kind of feel, and Mary agreed with me, that this was an inside job. So I did my due diligence, I did my homework, I put everything together, did my exit report, and moved it on up to the detective's line, and then it'll go to the attorney general. So he'll listen to us. He won't,
Go, girls.
you know.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, I know. I said, I didn't know. I thought you were tall. No, I'm not tall. Thank you so much. And this is 2025. This is our first meeting of 2025, and we really need to watch what's going on. We need to have people like that do seniors versus crime to watch out for us and let us know what's going on. And we also need our next speaker, our very own Maxine Connor, our Natural Resources Chair. And she is going to tell us what has been going on as far as a proposed land swap that's supposed to go on. Now, raise your hand if you've heard of this before. Okay, good. Well, for the rest of you, we need to keep an eye on everything. And I always say this, and I know it's true, Maxine knows everything about the environment, and I'm so glad she's watching out for us. Maxine Connor.
Move this over toward your. Okay, you're most generous, Vicky. I don't know everything about the environment, but we try to stay informed about the local stuff and keep everybody else informed as well.
Right in there.
Pardon? Can you all hear me? Oh, there it is. There it is. It's funny, until you hear yourself, you know you're not. It's up to the mic. Okay, so in reference to that proposed land swap,
deal. I'm going to work backwards with it because there's been no action on it since it came up. But I'll tell you how it came up and tell you the story up until now. So it's to do with a part of the Withlacoochee State Forest. It's in Hernando County. It's on the Citrus County line. It borders 98 and the Suncoast Parkway. It's east of Cabot Citrus, which is a luxury golf place in Hernando County, northern Hernando County. And they wanted to expand. They they do a they want to expand west and take part of the Withlacoochee State Forest.
Who is they?
Cabot Citrus Farms, the golf.
Canada.
They're based in Canada. Yeah. So I've just been asked to give you a brief update on this proposal. So we'll call it a proposal. So this past June, with no public input, the Florida Governor and Cabinet met and voted to approve a transfer of 324 acres of this state forest land in the Withlacoochee State Forest, the parcel I mentioned to you. It's in Hernando County, and Cabot Citrus wanted to take that land and in its place give to the state over 800 acres of pine forest plantation in Levy County. So that's where the idea of the swap came in. They wanted something, but they were going to give something back. But the parcels are not equal because the state forest is conservation land. It has conservation value. The pine forest plantation can be harvested. So that's different. And it's also a different type of land. The biodiversity on the state forest land is great and not so much on the pine forest land. So they're not equal, even though there was more acreage that the Cabot wanted to give back. So also, Cabot had obtained approval earlier from Hernando County Commission to build 1,770 residential units in a large area of commercial development on the land it already owns, adjacent to this part of the state forest that we're talking about. So this whole article so this will get you to the Legal and Voters of Citrus County website. This whole article is in the newsletter, the January newsletter on that website. And so what happened then? Numerous letters of opposition were sent to the director of the Florida Forest Service, who had to approve this, and his direct supervisor of the Florida Secretary of Agriculture and Consumer Services. And so examples of letters that went were Sierra Club Florida chapter letter with a 67-page sign-on from 67 other organizations who said, don't do this. Also the Sierra Club Florida Chapter Conservation Committee, which is a separate entity, part of the Sierra Club Florida, and the local Sierra Club also sent a letter opposing this. And also a former executive director of SwiftMud, which is Southwest Florida Water Management District, sent a letter in opposition, and letters from many other conservation organizations and individuals. So our local Sierra Club noted 3 major objections. So what is wrong with this thing? So the proposed land swap establishes a dangerous precedent, and that's a big issue I had with it, for other public lands desired by developers. Because if you do that once, then you're setting a precedent, and then what's to stop it from keeping happening? And state forest land needs to be preserved in perpetuity for its conservation value. And this piece also had a role as a link to the Florida Wildlife Corridor. It also had value as a high groundwater recharge area within the Chazawiska Spring Shed, because remember, Chazawiska River is just north of this. And that spring shed has been declared an outstanding Florida spring, one of many. So we would agree here. So the land swap was contingent upon review and approval by both the Florida Forest Service and the Acquisition and Restoration Council, which is a mouthful. They call it ARC. They have a website. You can just Google it and you'll see it. They seem to meet about every other month. Their next meeting is February 14th. So far, this stuff has not showed up on their agenda. We're thankful for that. We hope it just goes away. So they meet in Tallahassee at the Department of Environmental Protection headquarters. So we just hope that the strong and overwhelming input from the conservation community will encourage state officials to be more transparent and to end the new trend to view state forests as something to be developed. We hope the state of Florida will continue acquiring land for Florida forever and protect them forever. We want Florida to continue the record that they've had and that they continue to do to acquire conservation land and protect the nature. And by protecting the nature, they're protecting us and our environment and our water. So just to clarify this issue, and when I've talked with people about this, they got confused between this state forest issue and the state park issue that happened a little bit before it. So I just wanted to clarify that because in people's minds, it kind of got mixed up. So what happened earlier was there was a movement at the state level to develop 8 of our state parks by adding golf, disc golf, pickleball, and lodging. And the public reacted overwhelming. It was overwhelming. They showed up on hot days with their sunscreen, with their bug stuff, with their hats. It was sweltering. And they went and they picketed at the state parks. And there was extensive public outcry. They showed their disapproval. They want to enjoy their state parks the way they are. They don't want them developed in any way. So the public has spoken, and let's hope that the state continues to listen. Okay, so if you go on the website, the League of Women Voters of Citrus County website, you will see this article, and you will also see links to 3 really good articles about this. If you're like me and you want to know the backstory, there's a Chronicle article from September, Tampa Bay Times, September, and Golf Week, which one of our members made me aware of right from the get-go. It showed up there. That wasn't the first place it showed up, but they had a really good article in Golf Week about it. So that's that story, and that's the backstory. And I have 2 other quick announcements. This one's really important. So on the table, I hope you got it at your chair. If you didn't, please grab it from the table on the way out. It's also in the newsletter. So if you can't find it anywhere or lose it, go right on the website and get it there. Vicky put it on there for us. So this is wonderful. A couple of years ago, Don Wright from Nature Coast Unitarians, he's a retired professor, and he has co-authored a book on climate change and what's happening on the Gulf Coast and the coasts of Florida. This is going to be an event that's going to happen on January 25th. It's on a Saturday at Nature Coast Unitarians on North Florida Avenue in Citrus Springs. And it's going to happen Saturday, the 25th from 3 to 5. So I got the wrong piece of it. I want to say this one doesn't. Yes. Okay. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Professor Gary Zarillo from the Florida Institute of Technology will be speaking. And it's you want to come and learn how the community can collaborate so that you improve your survival chances, you minimize damage, and you enhance recovery. And this is all due to the extreme weather events caused by climate change. So I hope you can go. If you please share this message with friends, and please come if you can. I don't think they're putting it on Zoom.
You say you have one other announcement?
I do. One quickie. Is that okay?
Yes.
All right. So Ryan Smart is the executive director of Florida Springs Council. They take the state to task when they don't follow the law we do with our springs. They're the only state nonprofit organization that deals with our springs. So he is coming down, traveling many miles to come here this Thursday, tomorrow, January 9th. He's going to be at the Homosassa Civic Club on Mason Creek Road, South Mason Creek Road in Homosassa at 7 o'clock to talk to the Homosassa River Alliance. So again, it's tomorrow, that's January 9th at 7 p.m. And please pick up one of these if you didn't get on the way out. If you didn't get it, please come. You're going to learn a lot. And also at that meeting, several of us, maybe not me specifically, but we hope some of the county commissioners come because they've been invited, and we want to talk to them about the fertilizer ordinance that we have. We want to know if they can improve it. Hernando County improved theirs, and they reduced. That's one quick and easy and inexpensive way to reduce nutrients going into our springs and rivers that are causing these algae blooms. So I don't know if you've kayaked the Chazawiska River lately, but it's in terrible condition, and that's one reason why. So we are trying to propose to the county to please look at that ordinance. There's a lot of great things they can do with it to make it better, including rainy season ban, and having more slow release fertilizer. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Bruce.
How many of you stuff about the environment? How many of you have the time to go to all the BOCC meetings and the school board meetings and the library board meetings? I don't see any hands. How many of you want to know what's going on there? Raise your hand. Okay, well, have we got something for you? Rosemary and I have been working. You can come on up. You're going to be getting an email if you were on the list. What we want to do, and I know we were calling it watchdogs, but I think we should come up with a better name than dogs. Community involvement, yes. You're going to get an email and you're going to have the dates of the meetings. And we would like you to sign up to go to one of those meetings and tell us what's going on. So you only have to go to one of the meetings to get the information on all the others. So when you get that, my hope as president is that you respond and that we do what the League of Women Voters does best. Inform people, let them know what's going on, and get involved. And we want 2025 to be a year of involvement for the League of Women Voters in Citrus County. Here's Rosemary Niels with some announcements.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. How many of you are members? Just curious. Okay, and we have some guests. That means if you're a guest, raise your hand or visitor. Thank you for coming. The announcements are really for everybody. As Vicki said, we had a meeting in November, and what we heard loud and clear from the folks who were there, mostly members, but we want more community involvement. And the statement is really democracy, government begins at home. So that's what Vicki was talking about. So if you're a member, you're going to get an email, but I just want to tell you some of what we're talking about. We want you to get involved. We want you to bring information back to us. So I'm going to tell you about those local government meetings, but we're doing other things. We are trying to be out in this community more visible than ever, and we've always been visible. So there's a lot of things coming up. Martin Luther King weekend is coming up, and we're going to be there. On Sunday, the 19th, there's an event at Liberty Park in Inverness. It starts at 4 o'clock. Now, that's an outdoor event, and it's on my to-do list this afternoon to find out if there's going to be tabling. And if so, if we can table, we'll talk. We'll talk more about that. But I'm not going to commit. It depends if we can do it, but I want to know. But the next day, Monday, January 20th, is the official Martin Luther King Celebration Day. It's inauguration day, just by coincidence. But Copeland, I guess it's the African American Club in Crystal River is having an event Monday, January 20th, 10:30 to 2 p.m. at Copeland Park. Now, we've been there. Our league has been there year after year. I know a lot of other groups. I know people in the room who are going to be there with their groups. We'll have an informational table. So if any of you think you'd like to come help with the table, sit with us, chat with us, stop by and say hi, please tell us. Now, this is all going to be in your email, but how many of you read your every email you get from the league?
From the league, she said.
I heard someone tell me that they don't always know if an email's even from the league. That was our last meeting. Someone told me that, and they're not quite sure. I had sent something. I never saw that, and that's why Vicky's asking questions about what's in the newsletter, because this email's gonna come from Vicky. Okay, there's more. Local involvement, Monday, January 27th. That's called legislative delegation. And that means our two elected officials for the state of Florida, our state senator and our state representative. Our state senator is Blaise Ngolia. Our new representative, local guy, JJ Grow, they're going to be there. They're going to listen to all the local entities, local government, school board. Sandy will be there, the county commissioners. Everybody's going to tell them this is our wish list. Well, we're going to be there too, and we're going to give them the league's wish list. We do it every year. We want them to know, hey, we're here, and we have legislative priorities. We've always done our voting, our election things, but it's more than that. We get into education, as you well know. We get into gun violence prevention. We get into environment. We get into healthcare, reproductive rights. So we're all over the place. We try to have a narrower focus at the state level, but we're going to be there. So it will be league members speaking for the league. But if you're interested in seeing what's going on, your local community officials at work, working with the state to say, this is what you need, we need you to do for us. They're not going to be in Tallahassee, they're going to be right here. There's a volunteer fair coming up. It's the Nature Coast Volunteer Center Fair, and that's going to be Saturday, February 15th. We're going to be there. We've got our tables and our racks and our whatevers. So let us know if you'd like to come and help us. And then, okay, I'm not going to go over these. EOCC meetings, twice a month, 1:00, usually second and fourth Tuesday. This month it's different,
And you
second and
can
third.
find them on the website.
Yes.
And you can
Okay.
find them in the newsletter.
Yeah, but if you can't go, you can watch it from your own living room. And your email's going to have how to do that. Our Facebook page has how to do that. The library advisory meetings, whoever thought that libraries would be something that people get all up in arms about? They do. So we're there. I don't wear my league shirt, but I'm there unless I can't be there. There's a big one on Tuesday, February 11th at 9:00. That's the governing board. Looks like we may be getting some new library advisory board members because some of their terms are up. Will there be drama? Who knows? It's always good to be there. You never know when you may feel compelled to say something on your own behalf, not for the league. Okay. All right. And then the library advisory board meetings. That's going to be February 25th. And then the school districts. Now, the school district meetings, in my opinion, there's no drama there. Sandy's the chair of the board, president of the school board. Okay. And the school board meetings, Scott goes every time, I go as often as I can. They run pretty smoothly, but you never know. So we're asking our members, hey, get out there, see what's going on. If there's anything urgently important, get back and tell us. Maybe you'll see some of us there that already go, but we want you to feel welcome, to get involved with us and make a difference in our community, because we're never as powerful at the state level as we wish we could be. And we are not always as powerful at the federal level as we wish we could be. But here we matter. So thanks.
Thanks.
Oh, yes.
February 25th,
Okay, what's that?
African American reading.
Oh my goodness, thank
We've
you.
got two readers here.
Okay.
Vicky's gonna read and BJ's reading.
Yes, thank you for that is on my personal calendar. And okay, our email has to change, Vicky, because we have to put that in. African American read-in, Sunday, February 25th. I believe that's 2:30 to 4:30. We will be there at Curtis Peterson. And we'll fix up our email.
Yeah, well, that's why you didn't get the email yet, but you will be getting it. The point is, how many of you have ever belonged to an organization? Any organization. You know, then that organization is a core of people that do all the work, right? We are old. We cannot be everywhere. And did you say really, BJ? And okay, I will. The reason that people work in organizations is because they're committed and because they like the people that they're working with. So if you get involved with us, wait a second. If you get involved with us, you will be able to help the cause that you're passionate about and work with some great people. BJ?
Like the read in. And what they do is they actually take excerpts from authors and poets and etc. to bring light to the fact that African American community are contributors, and probably some of the very songs and poems and poetry that you read and you see the name, you have no idea who created those. So I invite you to come. I will be in Orlando every Sunday, but I will run back to here to be in place at 2 o'clock for the start at 2:30. So I'm looking forward to that. And then here's something else for you. Although the African American Black population here is a mere 3%, we are seen and we are heard. And I want you to hear something about being invited to another Black History event. And that's going to be Saturday, February 15th. I've got a scoop because I've got a 12 o'clock Zoom to get ready for, but I'm going to leave one of the flyers, or all the flyers on the table at the back, and you can take a picture with your phone, and that would really be most helpful. And what it is at the George Washington Carver Center in Crystal River. If you don't know where it is, the address is on there as well. There is an author. His name is Bruce Seaman. He's an author. Thank you. He's an author of the book To Succeed Where Others Failed. And he's going to share an incredible story with a lot of research behind it about a historic event that not even I knew occurred here in Florida. And it is a contingency of African American soldiers in Marion County during the Civil War and what they did to help freedom. Because when we look at the Civil War, we tend to want to take a side or not take a side. But what I look at is every one of those soldiers was somebody's child. And every one of those soldiers had their own family as well. So it would do us well if we could learn our history, so we can talk about our history, so we can share and just love on each other. So come out and do that and learn more. Thank you.
Thank you. BJ gets a straddle in my little step stool here. Do any other board members have any announcements that they want to make? Maxine.
So one more thing I forgot, Senator Gail Harrell, has filed SB 80. It's a bill to protect the state parks, to make sure that threat doesn't come to fruition again, to develop state parks. So you can follow it along on the state website.
SB 80 to protect parks.
Yeah, for what you can also tell legislators to please support it.
Okay.
Thank you. I have another announcement.
Yes.
Related actually to what Maxine said. You know, the legislative session has started. It officially starts March 4th. I think it goes till May 4th, but whatever. But
Tallahassee all the time. They're meeting, they're proposing bills. They've been So when we say it's 60 days, it's way more than that, really. So I have a bill to tell you about too. As you know, one of the things we do in this community is gun violence prevention. And we go to health fairs. We'll talk to anybody who will listen about how secure storage, keeping our guns locked away from children and keeping them locked if we keep them in our cars so that they're not stolen and used to commit crimes. Well, at any rate, Senate Bill 15 was filed just this week, and that's a bill to require secure storage. I haven't read the whole bill yet, but it's really good news. Of course, they're filed every year, and a lot of times they just kind of, disappear. But just in talking about gun violence prevention, we want you, if you know of any community health fairs that will be happening, let us know because we like to have a table. And the VA supplies us with free gun locks. And we have information, well, things like this. It's called Safe Storage Saves Lives. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. You're going to be hearing more about it from us as we try and get out there into the community. That's it. I'm zipped. Okay.
So we need you. We need your involvement. We're looking forward to it. Thank you so much for coming and have a wonderful January. See you in February. Who's going to speak? Okay, great.